Hello and welcome back again. We're looking at my MegaMetal cards today, and the first episode we got through Iron Maiden and Bon Jovi, and one band I never heard of before. And we're starting up here with Ronnie James Dio, or actually Dio, the band Dio. But there's Ronnie James right there. Yeah, and not sure, that doesn't look like Vivian Appice to me. Simon Wright. Yeah. Vivian Appice. I'm not sure how you pronounce his name. It's really hard for me making these videos with a lot of the actors, actresses, rock bands. I don't know how to pronounce their names. It can be quite challenging. But Vivian did play for drums on Holy Diver and a few other albums that Dio did. So this was later on. Not even sure who he's got on the guitar there. This might be the old Lock Up the Wolves, where he had that young kid. Yeah, it is. These cards are from the Lock Up the Wolves period. And he's got this guy who was 17 when Dio hired him to play in his band. Yeah. So after Dio, we've got Firehouse, which wasn't bad. Pretty much along the lines of Bon Jovi, in my opinion. And there's their two cards. The front, which I never got into, not real familiar with, so I can't give you much commentary there. And then Heaven's Edge, which I did have a couple of their tapes. I definitely got the first one for sure. And again, more the pop metal, but nothing wrong with that. I did like quite a bit of the pop metal. I consider quite a few bands that people think are really heavy as being glorified pop metal to me. Look at the backs here, the font cards. Because the front, Firehouse. And that one there. And that pretty much covers that. Now we're getting back here, and we're back to Robert Plant. And like I said, not really sure how he qualified to be in MegaMetal. I'm sure it's his claim to fame with the Led Zeppelin years, because his solo work was great. It was good music, but it was not heavy metal. I'm not buying that from anyone. There's no way that Robert Plant could be classified as heavy metal in his solo career. It's pushing it to classify him as heavy metal with Led Zeppelin, but Led Zeppelin was heavy music, unlike stuff people had heard before when the Zeppelin came out. But they're a far cry from what I would consider heavy metal. But these are opinions. Opinions vary. Take it for what it is. I got really severely attacked on a news group one time when we were talking about the possibility of Led Zeppelin having a reunion with Jason Bonham. Robert Plant didn't want to do it. I thought they should get another singer and do it. But that was a very unpopular opinion. Now we got the Judas Priest here, which is what I was going to jump ahead to after the Maiden, because to me, Iron Maiden and Judas Priest in the 80s, they were the face of metal. They were it. And I still love them both. They both have had good and bad albums. They've had good and bad periods in their careers, but you know, even Ripper Thorn I loved. I thought Ripper Thorn was awesome. Wasn't as big a fan of Blaze Bayley. Nothing against the guy, but the work that he did with Iron Maiden when Bruce left was not up to par. And as far as I was concerned, Ripper Owens did as good or better. Yeah. Send me the bad comments. I know they're coming, but I'm sorry. That's just the way I feel about it. Rob Halford is an awesome vocalist, tremendous vocalist, but so is Ripper Owens, Tim Ripper Owens. Yeah, I thought he was a great great replacement. I thought the 2 albums he did with Priest were awesome. And I realized that I am not in the majority opinion there. So, but that's okay. You know? I've seen them live with both, and both put on a great show. So, here we've got Scott Travis and KK Downing. KK's Priest is also very awesome if you haven't heard it. And he has Tim Ripper Owens singing for him on KK's Priest. If you have not checked out KK's Priest, you definitely need to hear that. Especially if you're a Judas Priest fan. KK's Priest, and he does a sequel to The Sentinel, which just, he's just tearing it up from start to finish on that album. So, yeah. And then, you know, we had Ian Hill there, and Rob Halford, and Glenn Tipton, and I was chatting a bit more. It looks like Ian Hill got 2. How's he luck out, huh? Yeah, I guess so did some of the others. Rob got 4 backs here with him, so. But yeah, I love Maiden's newest one, and Priest's latest ones. We're all good. All good stuff. Here we've got Painkiller album cover, which I'm going to guess is what was current at the time that these cards came out. That's probably about how far back we're going here. And I'll show you those 2 backs before we move on to King Diamond, who again, I don't go that far into the dark side generally. Wasn't a huge Slayer fan, wasn't a huge King Diamond fan, Merciful Fate, Venom. There's a lot of dark metal, satanic metal, call them what you want. I don't talk politics or religion on this channel, and I have no intentions of changing that. But let me just say, there is good and bad, and I understand the theatrics. You know, Kiss was considered evil, Knights in Satan's service, if you remember all that BS controversy. And, you know, there is a fine line. When you start promoting evil, have a chorus of all hail Satan, I could do without that. That's going too far. Even Black Sabbath wasn't too bad for me. But you start getting into the Merciful Fate, King Diamond, Slayer, a lot of these bands, and they can claim theatrics all they want. But if you're promoting Satanism, if you're promoting evil, promoting the dark side, I just as soon not hear it. And yeah, it gets to be a fine line with a lot of these bands for me, because I do love Black Sabbath. I do love Kiss. I loved a lot of bands that were considered to be satanic or evil, or even Led Zeppelin with Jimmy Page being a known confessed Satanist. Hell, he lives in Aleister Crowley's house, or he was for some time anyways. You know, the cover presents that obelisk there is supposedly used in satanic rituals. You know, it doesn't matter if you believe in it or not. They do, and that's what matters. I mean, but now, enough of that. We got into that too much already. L.A. Guns. L.A. Guns was a great band too. You had Hollywood Rose and L.A. Guns, which got split apart and formed Guns N' Roses. But while Hollywood Rose definitely just dissolved and went away, L.A. Guns got some replacement members, and they continued on. So, if you don't know the original stories of the formation of Guns N' Roses, L.A. Guns is part of that story. And I do like L.A. Guns. They're still around. They're still doing stuff. I think The Missing Pieces was their last album that I heard, and it was pretty darn good. I was pretty happy with it. Pretty impressed. Tracy Guns, the guitarist, the main force there behind the band, I believe. Not, like I say, a huge fan. Not into their history so well to know it extremely well. But I do like them, and they had some good albums. M.O.D, which I believe stands for Mothers of Destruction. they were a little more, from my recollection, a little more on the kind of rap metal side. And I am not a fan of rap, hip hop especially. I despise. Sorry, but I don't like country and western, especially the twangy stuff. And I don't do rap or hip hop by no means. So, but we'll finish up the M.O.Ds here, and then we'll call this episode good. And we'll be back for part 3, which I think we can finish the setup in part 3. So give me just a second, and we'll be back with Nuclear Assault, which is another awesome metal band.